Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Business Talks. I am your host, Chawanne Burns. In today's episode, we are going to discuss Joe Biden. Joe Biden, we might as well say he issued or sanctioned another war. I think we are going to be in World War Three, due to I believe he's trying to do anything and everything to stop Donald Trump from negotiating a peace talk between Ukraine and Russia. He gave permission yesterday to for Zelensky to use the missiles that they have over there in Ukraine, and now, as of today, Zelensky have used those missiles, and they fired those missiles into Russia. Okay, so we're going to cover this story as the news is coming in. Also, we're going to talk about Donald Trump. Donald Trump, it looks to see that they put his conviction, or they're trying to put a stay on his conviction until after he fills his presidency. And of course, Donald Trump is not with the mess. You either give him a sentence now, or you need to drop these charges. So they're going to appeal this decision of this 34 count felony. So it looks like it's going to go in Donald Trump's favor. Also, I want to talk about Pete Hegseth. There's been some allegations against him, sexual allegations against him. And, you know, Pete Hegseth, I believe he was named the Secretary of Defense. So I want to talk about more of those allegations. Like I said, you know, anything that Trump is doing right now, they're trying to make sure that his legacy or his term is gonna look like full of crap. Okay, anything that he decides, anything he does, they're gonna say, "Oh, this, look at him. He's not fit. He's making wrong decisions already." So we're gonna be into some turmoil in the next, and I'm specifically talking about the media in these next few months. I think they're trying everything to stop Donald Trump to actually walk into the White House, if you ask me personally. And I don't think they want to do that. I think it's going to be bad for the country. So you guys stay tuned. We're going to get into it on another episode of Business Talks.
Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad. Something like this. Looks a little bit like I can't miss. Hey, this is what you call a bad. What? This is what you call a bad.
You guys put in the chat. Let me know where you're viewing from. Please put in the chat. Let me know where you're viewing from. It's always great to see you. I have to get a little pep to my step. I know I sounded kind of down when I was talking in my intro, only because I hate to see the U.S. is going into a direction of war. I think it's not a good look. I think that we should be able to negotiate peace talks, whatever the case may be. We're not encroaching on the territory. So why are we even over there? Why are we spending billions of dollars and giving it to Ukraine? Why does the American citizens have to suffer? And of course, Joe Biden, not only we funded Zelensky operations for the last 3 years, 3.5 years. We could say about 3.5 years, we're funding this war. Zelensky wouldn't even have a war or even chance to have a war if it was not for the U.S. The U.S. government, the taxpayers, have been the main financier of Zelensky war. Okay, so that's why I sound kind of down, because I don't think we should even be over there. And then I do have, the military enrollment is down. Military enrollment is down, and I do have military age nephews that could be potentially drafted, you know. And these are my nephews. They are fit to serve. There's nothing wrong with them. So it's pretty troubling to see that we're going in this direction when we knew Donald Trump was trying to negotiate peace not only between Ukraine and Zelensky, but also between Israel and Hamas. And, you know, of course, we always have enemies of the Iranian government. China is always trying to backdoor us. They're slipping in fentanyl to our people and poisoning our people. So we got to always keep an eye out on them. And then other stuff, other Middle Eastern countries that might have a problem with us. And we always talk about North Korea. Xi Jinping, he has a problem with us. But Donald Trump was able in his presidency, even though these people or these leaders, dictators, have a problem with us, they always respected him and they always knew not to cross the line. But for some reason, we're not into that era no more because Biden and his administration, they are warmongers. For some reason, they smell blood and they want to, I guess, give it all they got. You know, is, hey, go for the old hoorah. I mean, I'm kind of lost for words. I don't know what the hell Biden was thinking, and the people that's giving him information and advising him on these military strategies, they have to be nut jobs. You have to be. Okay, so you guys put in the chat. Let me know where you're viewing from. I see we have Celeste Hodges in the building. It's always great to see you, Celeste. Celeste is tuning in from Texas. Justin Thompson, good morning or afternoon to everyone. Justin, thank you for tuning in. Anger mismanagement, good afternoon. Hope to be not much longer. Gary, Indiana. You're saying your precinct in 2020, 8 votes for Trump. Now it's 38. How many people do you got in your precinct? Number one, it's 38. But it's a vast improvement, but it all depends on how many people we're talking about. What is your precinct size? I would like to know that. Celeste Hodges, breaking news. Bragg not moving forward on the hush money case against Trump. Yes, I see that. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Keratin is in the building. Good afternoon to you, Keratin. Noble Young is in the building. Noble Young, good afternoon to you. Tyrell Harris is in the building. Tyrell is saying all rise. Tyrell from East New York, Brooklyn hath arrived. You may be seated. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Honorable Tyrell Harris. Thank you for blessing us with your presence. It's always great to see you. Justin said muted. No, you're muted. See, I'm not muted. I'm not muted, Justin. See, I'm on top of it. And then you go back to say, oops, my bad, not muted. Yes. Can Biden F up any worse? I don't think so. Matt Gaetz too. Yeah, Matt Gaetz is, they're saying he has some allegations of, he was, slept with a 17-year-old. And this is a hearsay because the girl came forward and said, not the actual girl, the alleged girl. It was another girl, I guess, a friend of a friend. She said she saw Matt Gaetz sleeping with this 17-year-old girl. And according to her story, Matt Gaetz said once he found out she was 17, he broke it off with her. So I guess they was in some type of relationship. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, you 17 and he at the time probably was 35. Okay, so that's pretty disturbing. But no charges was ever brought against him. So I'm assuming that you know, whatever. But anyway, Keratin is saying, and it's sad and pathetic, really. I mean, Biden picks was straight up DEI. Exactly. Rosalie is tuning in from New York City. Thank you, Rosalie, for tuning in. And Keratin, yes, Waycross, Georgia. Sherry, California. Mandrell, Alabama. Gary Williams, LA, California, Los Angeles. And DY3116. I'm watching from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Well, thank you for tuning in. You might be buried in the snow. They said that some snow was coming. I don't know if it's coming through your part to our part, but they said we were about to get hit with a winter storm, and it's supposed to arrive pre-Thanksgiving. So hopefully you are safe out there, and make sure you stay warm. Samuel Matthews, thank you for tuning in. And you're saying I have a nephew in Air Force in Germany right now. I do have a ex brother-in-law. I used to be married twice, you guys. That's something you don't know about me. But my ex brother-in-law, he's stationed in Germany as well. And he's in the Air Force. I believe he's in the Air Force. I have to go back, but I think he's in the Air Force. And matter of fact, he just made another rank. He's a master sergeant right now. He just got a promotion. Anyway, Keratin, China and Taiwan too. Exactly. Justin Thompson is in the, well, I already said Justin. Justin, you're typing away. Thank you. Lexi is in the building. Thank you, Lexi. Good afternoon to you. Obama is behind this. We all know Biden isn't thinking these days. I absolutely agree with you. He's been pulling the strings for the last 4 years. Obama has always been behind the BS. Exactly. That part. And, to many, many more of you. Okay. The first story I'm going to talk about is a more get under your skin, because we know these ladies are bees, the BITCH word. I don't want to use the word, but that's what they are. Okay. And I'm talking about the cackly hens of the View. Okay. Yesterday, Sunny is the B word. Sunny is the real B word. And the only reason why I use the B word, because she has so much hate for white women. And anybody white woman, let's say white woman, she don't particularly like black men either. That 19% or that voted for Trump really got under her skin. Latino men, she don't care too much for you. And white men, you not even in existence to her. Sunny Hostin is a very prejudiced woman. She's a bigot. And I'm surprised they are letting her continue with her rant. Kamala Harris lost the popular vote. Right now, all these states that don't require voter ID, right now, they're still effing counting the votes. Kamala Harris, when they when they called the election for President Trump, and he had 304 electoral college and about 76,000 or 76 million. I think he might have had 74 million at the time. Kamala was sitting at a good 66,000 or 66 million votes, right? 66 million. Now she's at a 73 million. They really trying to make Kamala look good. You guys put a 1 in the chat. Do you think people showed out more for Kamala Harris than Barack Obama? Put a 1 in the chat. Barack Obama, number one, he's intelligent. Number two, even though he's evil, we're going to take the evil out. Barack Obama is intelligent. He's very charismatic. Cancel. I guess YouTube don't like what I'm talking about. They took me off the screen. But Barack Obama, Barry Soetoro, we was hoodwinked, led astray, bamboozled by Barack because we thinking he's the first black president of the United States. Okay? That's what we was led astray. And we showed up by droves. Not only black folks, and I said this a long time ago, not only black folks cannot just get the person elected. It has to be a joint effort of your white counterparts. If they don't show up, if they don't believe in your opponent or your candidate, they will not get elected if you don't have white people behind the candidate. Now, we could swing the votes, but we absolutely need the white vote, right? So anyway, Barack got elected. We was bamboozled or whatever. They showed up. I think he ended up getting like 70. I think it was like 60, 65. I don't even think it was 65. I really don't think it was that much. It probably was maybe 59. I'm going to look it up while this thing is playing. But 59 million. Do you think Kamala Harris actually garnered 73 million people to come out? I just looked it up. It said 73 million people voted for Kamala Harris. Do you effing believe that? The lady that's lying to us, that can't complete a sentence, that always saying that she has the dream and the aspirations of the American people or whatever the hell she says. And she grew up in a neighborhood that her neighbors cared about her line, and her Miss Jenkins was a small business owner. Come on now. And they showed up for her. I don't believe it, not one bit. I don't believe it. I think this whole election, even though, and I'm saying this whole election was fraudulent because it's 12 days in, and California is still at 95% count. This is effing ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Anyway, let me get to this story. Oh, and I saw Courtney Smith. Thank you. Have anybody seen Kamala? Have anybody heard from Kamala in a couple of weeks? No. Kamala is hiding in the basement. Kamala is hiding in the basement because this embarrassment of a campaign she ran. Okay. You're saying you're going to fix the economy, but you can't even manage $1 billion budget, and you're trying to manage trillions of dollars of deficit. You can't even manage $1 billion budget. You end up getting in a deficit, and you spent it in 100 days. So Kamala, no, we haven't seen Kamala. She's in the basement. Matter of fact, she had one tweet. I follow Kamala, and I got a notification on her X profile. One tweet, and that was Sunday. And she said something, and of course, I had to get smart with her. I forgot what she was talking about. But the point is, Kamala is hiding in the basement somewhere because she's embarrassed, and she owes $20 million to some people. And her donors are mad. Her donors are mad. That's probably why they're conjuring up the vote, or to make it look like she didn't lose by a landslide. They're trying to manufacture these ballots, right? So it could look better we only lost by 1 million votes. We didn't lose by a landslide. We only lost by 1 million. See? Anyway. This is a Sunny hosting the racist person. Okay. Sunny hosting, like I said, I'm going to keep on repeating that. Her ass should be fired. Her ass should not be on public TV for you to be this racist. You shouldn't be on public TV. And then you're so dismissive because people, shout out to Alyssa Farah. She keeps on pushing back on her, and her network needs to check Sunny. Sunny needs to lose her job, and she is continuing to find the blame in what do you call uneducated people. And the black folks are not that educated. We could say black women are educated. We get the more degrees and all that stuff. But education, just because you got a damn degree, that don't mean you got freaking common sense. It doesn't go hand in hand. Just because they gave you a paper and you spend thousands of dollars to get in debt to get a psychiatry degree, that don't mean you got effing common sense. This is your girl. What is her name? Sunny Hostin.
He voted for Kamala Harris. It's difficult for people to believe that racism and misogyny, they're just alive and well. I think that we don't want to think that about ourselves, our neighbors, our friends. But it's my lived experience tells me that it does still exist, even if your lived experience doesn't tell you that it exists. And, you know, the facts support that. I think we have a graph. If you look at the...
What racism have you received, Sunny Hostin? What racism? She could actually pass for, if she had stopped wearing her hair like a freaking chia pet, she could pass for a white girl, Latino. What racism have you received? The more prettier you are, and she's actually an attractive woman, you skirt by. You guys put in the chat. Prettiness gets you more perks than it doesn't matter what color you are in this day and age. It doesn't matter. That's why you're on freaking national TV trying to, I guess, pull to the heartstrings a black woman and all these liberal white women. Oh, the racism and misogyny still exists. This is why Kamala didn't win. No, Kamala didn't win because she's a goddamn fool. Nobody like her. I was talking to the guy I write grants for today. We met that's why I'm late. We met at the out to eat, and we were discussing the election. Mr. Willie he just turned 90, so he's a stern Democrat, but he was raised down south in Oklahoma. I don't even know if you call Oklahoma down south, but anyway, what I'm getting at, he was like, Kamala was not the right person. She wasn't the right person for the job. Everybody knew that. So if a 90-year-old black man knows that, a 20-year-old white man will know that. All across the board, Kamala is not the person for the job. Why can't you get that through your thick skull? It's not misogyny and racist. She was not the right person. And what really made it worse for Kamala is the news. The news made it worse for Kamala. They kept on pushing lies down people's throat, saying, oh my God, the world is on fire. If Trump get elected, you're going to be back in chains. Who actually believed that? And if you're online, looking at me saying, oh, I believe that, you a damn fool too. You're the fool.
There's a clear racial divide in who voted for Trump as opposed to who voted for Kamala Harris. It's very clear. It's not only clear by race, but it's also clear by education. And so the notion somehow that is not true. This is by education. Those who attended college voted for her at a higher degree than those that didn't.
But I
and
think
I've
you're
said that.
missing his point.
Let me just finish. And so I've said that before, and there was so much backlash because I think it's an uncomfortable, inconvenient truth about this country.
But his whole point is they didn't vote for him because of racism and misogyny. They voted for him because they felt like, I think the biggest common denominator in this election is people want a good life and ability to provide for their family.
Well,
and whether we agree or not with Donald Trump's plans,
black people
they thought that he was reflective.
One of the poorest demographics in this country, but they voted for Kamala Harris.
But there was a split, and more of them.
Because Who's gonna tell this lady? Who's gonna tell this lady about Lyndon B. Johnson? It seems like Sunny Hostin is not familiar with history. She likes to bring up history like it's in existence today, like the things that we went through in the early 50s, redlining. They still have redlining in the 70s and 80s and stuff like that. But she's trying to conjure up this racism and these laws that they put forth years ago that's been eradicated. Really, you don't really see that much racism, really. I think it's more classism that gets people in these boxes than anything. And she's a classist. This is the classic classist, a person that's trying to project her elitism onto other people. She's saying, why didn't black people vote for him? Black people, all walks of life, there are in chains. They are enslaved. This is why you see the demographics voting for Democrat, because we are enslaved in the mind. And once you get up, we have people like Sunny Hostin saying, I don't know what's wrong with black men. They crazy. I don't know what's wrong with that. They get in your comments, call you coon. Oh, you need to wake up. But let's go back to this chart. Actually, that's how it's supposed to be. It shouldn't be a definitive, 80% or 90% voting for one particular person. Because you should be able to think with your own mind and make cognitive decisions whether or not this president or whoever's running is going to be beneficial for your family and your community. You can't tell me black people of all backgrounds, 82%. Or no, where am I getting that? No, this is not the right. There you go. Never attended college. White people, black people, 85%. That's way too high. When a person is not enslaved, white people, they're not enslaved because they got 41% Democrat and 57% Republican. That's normal. That's the way it should be. But this 85%, we're going to just vote for Democrat because we're afraid of Republicans. They've been labeled as the white supremacists and the big orange man is going to put you in chains. They're going to put you in chains and they're going to lock you up. Get ready. Good luck on your freedoms. It's November the 19th and I'm still free. I'm still online talking to you. Nobody came here like, hey, Chawanne, knock, knock, knock. Is Chawanne Burns there and the Burns family there? Hey, I hear you're 85% black. We need to usher you back to these concentration camps. Matter of fact, get on the field, Negro. Like, it didn't happen. But what happened is they ushered us into a war. Joe Biden. That's what happened. So, this thing that she has in her head that why did black people voted for Kamala? Because we want some symbolism shit. Give them a statue and they keep on voting Democrat. Give them Juneteenth. They vote for, they really love us. They gave us Juneteenth. And you ain't no richer. You can't read no more. You don't got no baby daddies. They in jail. All the things that they do against black people. Okay? All the things that you talk about and these social justice calls and you're marching to Washington for, they're still doing it because they gave you a damn statue to shut your ass up. Oh, we're going to give you Kamala Harris and make her the primary so we could get your vote so we could still control of the government, and Kamala Harris could be a puppet. Oh, we got a first black president, and she ain't even black, but we got a first black president. You go, girl, black girl magic. And you sitting all tall. Hey, she's a AKA Sorrow. Ski. Hey. Symbolism. That's why you fools, 85% of you, decided, oh, Kamala's black. Let me just vote her in. And she a damn fool. She's not qualified. That's why you have the other 13% voting for Donald Trump. The other 13% kind of woke up and said, nah, Kamala Harris, when you talk to her, she don't sound too good. Even though they didn't know about communism, and maybe you didn't know about the history of communism. The other 13% saying, hey, they probably listen to the news like this stuff don't sound right. Yeah, I got a manufacturing job. I work for the plant. They talking about shipping our jobs over in China. I think I'd vote for play it safe and vote for Donald Trump. I know I keep on interrupting her, but she really pisses me off. Anyway.
It was reflective.
One of the poorest demographics in this country, but they voted for Kamala Harris.
But there was a split, and more of them voted for Donald Trump than had historically. I think that there's such a desire. If you really think the vast majority of this country voted because of racism and misogyny, you're missing it. Most of my family, a lot of my family doesn't have college degrees.
But the stats are the stats.
But that's not, it doesn't say I voted for Donald Trump because of racism. That's not, let me just ask, what stat are you talking about?
Let me just dissect.
Yes, you can.
Wait, hold on. Calm down. Everybody just take a breath.
Well,
take a beat.
Well, let me jump in here because I think, Sonny, what you say is valid. And I think absolutely that is part of the problem. But when we hang our hat on that's the only problem or
no
the
one's
main.
saying it's the only.
I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying the backlash is that when people hang their hat on that being the only reason, any criticism of Vice President Harris must be because she's a woman or she's black. I voted for Hillary Clinton, not because she was a woman, she was the most qualified. I voted for Vice President Kamala Harris because more of my values fell in line with what she stood for. So all of
values. You said more of her values, what she stood for, but she didn't say she was qualified.
that can be true. There is something here to the socioeconomic class, though, that is crossing racial divide in academic and education, too. Americans with a college degree 30 years ago were roughly 20% of the population and held the same percentage of household wealth as those without a degree. Yeah. 30 years later, this is important, Americans with a college degree account for 38% of the population and 73% of the household wealth. The haves and the have-nots have gone so far apart that they are rising up right now, and they cross every line of our democracy.
Okay, can I? So look,
Go ahead.
I think most people are not saying that it was all about sexism and it was all about racism. Right. Most people are not saying that. I would say to Bill Maher, who I like, whose show I've been on several times, that maybe, just maybe, when you live life as a woman and as a woman of color, you feel it and you know it a little bit more than a white man does in America. And so I'm not saying, he says that folks see everything through the lens of racism and sexism. Not everything. But if you're not seeing racism and sexism in America, then you need to clean your lenses.
But
because, so I
can't agree with that. I mean, if you always say, oh, everything is about race, then everything is going to be racism. Okay? If you always say, oh, that lady looked side-eyeing me at the grocery store, she must don't like black people. Well, maybe you got a rag on your head. Maybe you look crazy. Maybe you got some lettuce stuck between your teeth. Maybe you smell like shit. I don't know. But if you see the lens, if you see everything that goes wrong with you and you say, oh, it has to be about race, then it is going to be racism. Your final conclusion will be, yeah, this was a racist problem. This happened to me because racism. So we got to get out of that saying, oh, the problem is because the color of my skin or because I'm a female. Because that might not be the problem. It might be something else. Like Kamala Harris, she's just incompetent. Kamala Harris is just incompetent. Let's just lay out the facts. She's incompetent. It has nothing to do with race. And maybe we could say maybe gender, because I get a lot of backlash. I don't think women should be running the U.S. Country. It should be president. Maybe 40 years from now, maybe we can have one when we have world peace, but not right now. In Anna Navarro, I think she's full of it too.
This is something that I also find interesting, that when Democrats and liberals talk about race or sexism, it's immediately labeled as identity politics, which has a negative connotation. It's a term that Republicans have coined, and it's been very effective. But when Donald Trump goes to Miami and talks to Cubans, that's not identity politics. When Donald Trump goes to Dearborn, Michigan and promises Arabs something, that's not identity politics. When he goes to Jews and promises them the opposite, that's not identity politics.
So I think
it's important. I don't know what Alyssa is about to say, but it's important to make sure you know what identity politics are. When Republicans use the term identity politics, they mean that, hey, I'm black, this person black, so they have to be right. Let's vote for her. I'm a woman, she's a woman. Oh, she has to be right. Let's vote for her. Even if she doesn't, even if she's not right. If she doesn't sound crazy, they probably like, oh, I love her because she makes me feel good. Identity politics. That's what that means. Anna Navarro, she's trying to make a new definition for identity politics. But no, Anna, you're wrong. That's not identity politics. That's just talking to your constituents. Something you know nothing about, okay? When you're running for office, you have to appease to everybody. So if you have to go into the lion's den and talk to the National Black Organization of Journalism or Association of Journalism, where everybody hates you, that's where you go, because you're trying to, garner their support. If you're trying to get the Cuban audience or Latino audience, you go where the Latinos go. They're not going to come to the Mar-a-Lago place. He got to meet the people where they're at. That's not identity politics. That's trying to garner the support of the people and to make people feel that, hey, I have your back and I'm here to support you. What are your problems that you're facing right now? I hear you and I'm here to listen to you. Let's solve the problem together. Kamala Harris did not do that. That's why she lost all those Latino votes. That's why she lost the Arab votes. That's why Michigan is red. Because Kamala Harris kicked the people out for saying Jesus is Lord and kicked the people out saying, free Palestine or whatever they were protesting. And she was like, oh, I'm speaking. Donald Trump met the people where they are. That's what she did, or what he did. Kamala Harris didn't do that. She played identity politics because she got Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B and Glorilla and all these other celebrities, Beyonce, that black people love, black women in particular, to shake their ass on the stage. That's identity politics. Oh, yeah, hey, that's my girl. She down for the cause. Go ahead. She's down for the freedom. Hoes for Kamala. Remember that thing came when Megan Thee Stallion and everybody was giving Kamala Harris like, are you serious? you twerking at, one of your, I guess you could call it a freak off. You twerking at your freak off convention or rally, and you want, all the black girls to be like, hey, we gonna vote for Kamala. Hey. That's identity politics, Anna.
Important that we remember 2/3 of this country does not have a 4-year degree. And in fact, 38% who do live 9 years longer than those who don't. Something is happening in this country. It's a lot of my family who don't have 4-year degrees. They may not even have associate's degrees, who they're working harder than they ever have. They have multiple jobs and they can't get ahead. So Kamala Harris had this great thing about $25,000 for first home buyers. That is aspirational, beyond aspirational for a lot of this country. They don't have the credit. They don't have the money to match the other $25,000. This is a real divide here. And when they're told, you know what, we do care about border security, not because we're xenophobic, but because the country is paying more money to house and to help those people.
Then why are the Republicans against giving people a living wage? Why is the Republican Party constantly against
I'm generally for a minimum wage, but a lot of these folks who work at small businesses, not the big corporations, are smart enough to know if there's 50 people at my shop and they raise the minimum wage, a lot of us are losing our jobs. They get that. They don't want to
This is how so out of touch they are. No one makes the minimum wage anymore. You go to McDonald's, you making $12, $13 an hour. There's no minimum wage. I know they raised it up in California, but here in Michigan it's $7 an hour. You paying your employees $7 an hour, you won't have employees. So you got to stay competitive. So the minimum wage, that argue, and that's why they're really out of touch. They literally think people making $7 an hour. They really think people are making $7 an hour. No, they're not. Even Walmart. Walmart starts you off at what, $13 an hour, maybe $14 an hour. So that's not in. And you look, living in, and maybe I misheard her. Living wage and minimum wage is two different things, but we need to face the fact that these people are out of touch with reality. They're going to argue. Alyssa is probably more grounded because her family or whatever. And I'm pretty sure Sunny Holston has people in her family or have people in her family that don't make a lot of money, but she probably stays away from them. She seems like the one of the girls that, oh, look at you. I have my law degree and I'm so educated. And no, I'm not going to the cookouts. That's in the hood. I won't be there seen in the hood eating off of paper plates. That is so low vibrational. That's Sunny Holston. She probably don't even talk to her family. I'm pretty sure she doesn't. Like her normal family, she don't have any normal family for real that she talks to. She's too good for them. Anyway, they go on. I don't know if I want to listen. It's only 30 minutes.
They want a chance to get ahead.
No, and nobody wants a handout. That's why when people started talking about welfare years ago, it's like you weren't talking to people who were on welfare. Yeah. Nobody wants to be on welfare. Yeah. Nobody wants to be down. Everybody wants a leg up. We all want to do better for our families. Mm-hmm. There's not a person, black, white, male, female, who doesn't want that for the family. I like what you said, because as a woman, I see things differently. As a black woman, I see things and hear things differently. I hear when people don't believe that there's an issue. I hear it, and there is an issue. So, but
I'm a black woman, and I don't think it's an issue. I think the issue is with these people up here. If we're saying there's an issue because of Kamala Harris, she had all the things in her toolbox to be a great president, and she didn't get elected. I will be wondering why. Even if it was close, then I wouldn't wonder why. But she didn't have anything in her toolbox. Kamala Harris was the worst candidate in history. And they're saying these talking points like she was, how they were saying that, oh, she ran a flawless campaign. She couldn't have did anything more than, get up on a table and do a table dance. Yeah, that's a bunch of crap. She was the worst candidate ever in the history of the United States. This is why you don't select people. They should have had the people do a special primary and ran their candidates and go off of the candidates that the people selected. But nobody wanted her. And like I said, these 8 states or 6 states that's still counting votes, conjuring up, trying to make Kamala look good, like she had a winning chance, and she didn't. Since November 5th, Kamala Harris received almost 8 million more votes than what she... Just really think about it. Kamala Harris received 8 million more votes and Donald Trump only received 1 million. Or maybe 2, it might have been 2 million. Anyway. I know I talked your ear off on that one. We're going to go to Peter Hegseth. Now, this is something that Pete Hegseth is actually, they're saying the administration was blindsided. Donald Trump was blindsided about his sexual allegation. This is all hearsay. I don't even think this should even be on the news because he was never convicted. There's never been a lawsuit. This is a hearsay of a person saying, oh yeah, I know this person. And it sounds like this person blackmailed Peter to give him some money so they won't give a lawsuit. You guys be the judge. I'm going to play this for you. And just ignore MSNBC. They're trying to make it like he was actually convicted for this sexual assault, and he wasn't. And of course, this ad is going to end in 30 seconds. So let me see if I could. Okay.
Only at Metro.
Let me show you some of his, again, public broadcasts on.
You guys, let me know if you. I don't never watch MSNBC breaking news, but or this is Deadline White House. I don't watch this show. So put in the chat if you know this lady. Who's this? What's her name?
January 7th, Claire.
See, these folks on the lawn, and there were more than I'd ever seen. These are not conspiracy theorists motivated just by lies. That's a bunch of nonsense that people want to tell us. These are people that understand first principles. They love freedom and they love free markets. And they see exactly what the anti-American left has done to America, indoctrinating our kids, opening our borders, canceling individuals, totally censoring entire viewpoints, all the double standards that exist in our country right now.
I mean, my first thought was he knew a lot about the insurrectionists on the 7th. It took the Department of Justice years to learn all that about the people that were there. But this idea that insurrection is justifiable because, quote, the anti-American left has done this to America, indoctrinating our kids, opening our borders, canceling individuals, totally censoring entire viewpoints, all the double standards that exist in our country right now. Again, I understand what Betsy's saying, why that makes him maybe better than the actual sons in Trump's view. But how does that impact the United States military?
Yeah, we're at this interesting moment where we have somebody who's been elected president who, instead of trying to find people who are competent and qualified to run some of the largest and most complex organizations in the world. Keep in mind, the Department of Defense is almost $1 trillion budget, 3 million personnel around the globe, all kinds of complexities that are involved in understanding, not just who's woke and who isn't woke. And by the way, taking down DEI does not make anything happen in terms of military readiness. It doesn't make any difference going forward. So what Trump has done, instead of finding really good, competent people, he's found people who will tear down these institutions, not build.
She's a representative, I guess, a former representative, Claire McCaskill. There is a problem with her assessment, okay? You're saying, Pete Hegseth, whether you agree or not, he might not be qualified for the job. But you guys believe in DEI. So we're going to prop this person up, meet our quota, and I guess qualified is the second attribute, or maybe the third attribute we look for to fill positions. What freaking difference does it make? She just said it. What difference does it make? So essentially, we don't need DEI. If you're going to say Pete Hegseth is not competent or qualified to do the job, we could very well say the people that are selected because of the color of their skin are not competent and qualified. And more likely, the people that's selected based off their skin, gender, and whatever are not competent and qualified. And we could say that about white folks too, because this is why DEI existed, because they found out people were giving favor to just white folks other than black folks, and particularly white men. Oh, yeah, I prefer a white man in this position, so we're just going to give him the position because he's the only guy that I feel may, that will agree with me, or he, will be a part of this culture. That's the same freaking thing that we're talking about. So competent and qualified, you can't even use that when you're talking about Donald Trump, because you've been doing this shit for years. You've been hiring people just based off of the color of their skin and their sexual orientation, not based off their qualifications.
Them up, not run them, not make them work for the American people, but he's convinced his voters that the way forward is to tear down the institutions of America that protect them. The military, law enforcement, that's what he has done. And that's what this guy says he's going to do. And by the way, I can't wait until he talks to the Israeli defense minister about women in combat. Mm-hmm. There's primarily a woman battalion in the Israeli army that took on Hamas extremists in October of 2023. Mm-hmm. These women took out 100 Hamas militants in battle. I can't wait for him to lecture Israel about how woke they are, where women are required to serve in the military, and they've been serving on the front line since Israel was born.
I'm sitting in silence because I can't believe she thinks it is admirable for women to serve on the front lines. This is the problem with, and you see, you went back to all these, look at them. They shaking their, she's the only one that's not shaking her head. And you'll find out why. She's probably more conservative than all three of these nut jobs. But they're shaking their hair like, yeah, you're right. I can't wait till he lecture them about women serving on the front lines. Are you freaking insane? You guys put in the chat. Do you want to serve on the front line? It kills me. These old ass people, women, trying to lead the charge of feminism, and we could do whatever a man could do, you're not going to serve on the front line. Your ass is too old to get enlisted. Israel, shame on Israel for them to require their females to serve on the front line. Shame on them. And they're shaking their head because these females are way too old to get drafted. Screw the younger people. So we should be drafting females? Is this what she's saying? Is this where she's going with? She's going to run to that. Oh, wait till Peter Hegseth, because I guess Peter Hegseth saying women shouldn't serve in active duty, and they shouldn't. Or in the war zone. And they shouldn't. How are you going to keep your race in existence and you putting your life on the line for your country, and you supposed to be birthing children? I mean, come on now. How are you going to make children and foster the American people? Is this why you want to bring in other people from different countries? Because, hey, we want our females to get on the front line and serve in the military. Is this what y'all gonna be voting for? I'm not voting for that. And they shaking their head like, yeah, I can't wait till he gets to Israel and talk to Israel about serving, because they women serve on the front line and they got a whole female battalion and they took them out. How many she hasn't talked about how many females died on the front line. Ukraine too. You remember I shared you a story about Ukraine. They had a 50-year-old woman serving on the front line. She said, I wanted to enlist in the country or, serve her country. And she was 50 freaking years old. Talking about she had a grandbaby coming up. Another woman, they showed her, video, and coming to find out she get hit by some IUD or whatever, some type of bomb, and she ended up dying. And she on her phone trying to look cute. You're in the war, number one, but she was like on the front line. Then 2 days later, they showed her dead. Is that something admirable? That a female should be serving on the front line when you got capable men? Are we trying to switch? We're really trying to switch roles here. So men are going to be at home having babies? Is that what we're trying to say? Or no, we don't need no more babies. We don't want babies. Just let the American population die out. We don't need them anymore. We'll just bring in some Venezuelans and Mexicans, and they love having babies. So we could just let them be fruitful and multiply.
Hamas militants in battle. I can't wait for him to lecture Israel about how woke they are, where women are required to serve in the military, and they've been serving on the front line since Israel was born.
Yeah, I mean, the contradictions, you can almost hear the interview already. Well, not those women, just the woke. I mean, I want to follow up with you, Claire, on the allegations of sexual assault. This is the New York Times reporting about the memo sent to the Trump transition team. Quote, the memo said the woman who was referred to as Jane Doe was 30 at the time and was working for the organizers of a conference in California where Hegseth spoke. It said that Hegseth was with two women at a bar after his speech when Jane received a text from the women saying that Hegseth was getting pushy about taking them upstairs to his room. Jane went over to try to mitigate the situation, the memo said. The two other women left, and from that moment on, the memo said, Jane did not remember anything until she was in Hegseth's hotel room, and she had only hazy memories of being there and then stumbling back to her room. The next day, she had a, quote, moment of hazy memory of being raped the night before. She went to the hospital and was tested with a rape kit, which revealed the presence of semen, the memo said. Hegseth's lawyer, Timothy Parlatore, said it was a consensual encounter and gave a very different version of events from the memo sent to the Trump team. Claire, your thoughts?
Well, my first thought is the fact that he didn't reveal this to the transition team in this process. That says mountains about his judgment. How do you be considered for this particular job and not reveal that at the point in time you're being interviewed? The fact that this blindsided the Trump transition team tells you all you need to know about this guy's character. Not good. That is not what you expect from someone who is leading a Defense Department where you're asking men and women to die for their country. And you can't bother to explore the fact that you paid off someone to stay quiet about a sexual encounter. And the idea that he is now trying to trash this woman, why did he pay her if he done nothing wrong? Why did he pay her off? That makes no sense. So it is really unfortunate that we are where we are now. I'm with my friend Paul here. I think there will be, especially on the Armed Services Committee, you've got Rounds, you've got Deb Fisher, you've got Joni Ernst, who served. You've got Tammy Duckworth, who lost her leg flying a Black Hawk helicopter in combat. You've got a lot of members on that Armed Services Committee that know this is a bad idea. So hopefully they will cut this off at the pass, but it tells you a lot they haven't pulled the nomination.
I mean, it is, Betsy, interesting to your first points. I mean, Trump.
It doesn't tell anything about the nomination. It all it says is, okay, this guy had sex with a woman. She did a rape kit. They didn't press any charges. So it leads to me believe that she was unsure. If you actually done a rape kit and something happened, why didn't you report it to the police? Then her lawyer, we're going to find out more, but essentially her lawyer contacted Seth or Pete's lawyer and said, hey, if you don't pay me X, Y, and Z, I'm going to file a civil suit against you. And that, of course, you are, guilty by public perception. This is the Me Too moment. Hey, she coming out. He had to do it. She's suing him. So he had to do it. Why even go through that trouble? So he was trying to say, okay, well, I don't want to get fired from a job. So I guess what money do you want? So it looks bad on both of their part. It looks like she was just trying to get a quick buck, and he was trying to cover something up. And at the time, I don't know if he was married at the time, but I know he was going through a divorce because he got divorced that same year.
Is down with the dirtiest dirt on anybody. I mean, Trump picked Gates. So why would Hegseth have not been upfront with them? And what's interesting about the Hegseth settlement is O'Reilly's career at Fox ends from these settlements. Hegseth has these settlements and is tapped to run the Pentagon. It's amazing.
It's not a settlement. They act like he went to court and they settled. No, it was essentially blackmail. No foul. They didn't have a civil case on this guy. It was, hey, if you don't pay this money, we're going to file a civil suit against you. So if you don't want this civil suit filed against you, you got to pay this money. That's essentially blackmail. That's what happened. Just like Stormy Daniels probably blackmailed Donald Trump. And that's what they call it, hush money. She blackmailed him, even though the events were consensual on her part. She was like, oh, I'm going to go public in this. And he was, if you don't pay me X, Y, and Z. So, of course, this is not career ending because this is not a public suit. Essentially, this is hearsay. This even shouldn't even be reported. It's no case files. It's just hearsay. She sent the memo. You know, he gave me some money back in 2017 because he didn't want me to go public. I threatened to sue him and he didn't want me to go public. You guys put in the chat, let me know if I'm going in the wrong direction, but that's what I hear. Maybe I'm one-sided, but that's what I hear. Now, if she would have she got the rape kit, why didn't she file charges? What stopped her from doing that? If you went as far as enough to, get a rape kit from the hospital, why wouldn't you go as far as enough to give a police report and say, and you didn't even have to mention his name, just to have it documented. So-and-so at so-and-so did this to me. I have foggy memories, and I think if she had foggy memories, you did a rape kit, why wouldn't they test her blood to see if she had any barbiturates in her bloodstream? You guys, let me know if I'm going in the wrong direction. You're at the hospital. I have foggy memories. Do you want to press charges? I don't know yet. Okay, this is valid. I don't know. He's famous. I don't know yet. But I do want to make a report. What happened? Okay, let's test your blood to see. And this could be used even if you don't file a report. You could do it in the civil claims. You date raped me because everything is foggy and whatever. It had to be GHB, right? That's essentially how they're describing it. So I need more information to say Peter Hegseth is the R word. I just need more information. I can't just say this guy went around and did the do to this girl unwillingly. And another thing that I don't like about this story, the two girls were saying, oh, he's trying to get us up to the apartment. It's two of you. Just walk away and go. It's two of you people. Walk away up and go away. If you don't want to sleep with the guy, you're at the bar. And so they call him or call her, and she tried to mitigate the situation. You end up sleeping with him? That don't make no sense. Anyway.
Yeah, what I think we don't know for sure is the extent to which Hegseth and Trump could have possibly discussed this issue. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. But the transition team is a large, sprawling organization, and it wouldn't necessarily be a surprise that a revelation like this would come as a shock to many people working on that team, but perhaps would receive a different reception from Trump himself and some of the people immediately surrounding him. Again, this is not entirely clear to me based on my conversations and some of the reporting that's out there. Regardless, however, what we also know is that accusations of sexual wrongdoing, sexual misconduct, sexual assault I can't think of any examples of times when they've changed Trump's view or Trump's commitment to the people working for him. So many of the men who Trump has installed in senior positions or brought to work near him have faced allegations of sexual harassment or other types of sexual wrongdoing, and it hasn't proven to be a deterrent for their careers when Trump is the one deciding where they are going to be installed. Of course, the huge outstanding question is, how does the Senate Republican Conference grapple with all this? Does the new leader, John Thune, does he decide that this is a bridge too far, or does he put Hegseth in the same category, of course, as Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, who Senate Republicans agreed en masse that despite allegations of sexual assault, he was confirmable for that lifetime position? I would, frankly, Hegseth, I think, is more likely to be confirmed than some of the other people that Trump has put forward. And Senate Republicans, of course, from a fairly mercenary standpoint, are going to be having conversations among themselves of regarding which of these numerous controversial cabinet picks that Trump has brought to them are they going to view as simply a bitter pill to swallow versus which ones are they going to put their feet down regarding. And I think Hegseth's going to be in the first category.
I think it's not going to change the confirmation one way or another. I think like she said, we don't know the extent of the communication between Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump. I believe he probably revealed this information. I don't think it's a shocker to Donald Trump because he probably viewed it as, yeah, they caught me up in some bullshit. All these people are coming out saying, oh, I did all these things to them. But they only came out now. They only decide to come out now against me since I'm running for office. Okay. So, of course, he's going to probably side with the men that he's putting forth because he's probably sympathized with them. Yeah, this same shit happened to me. Now, depending on the type of material and evidence or information they give Donald Trump, I would like to think Donald Trump is kind of compassionate, especially towards women since he has daughters. So I would like to think that he's compassionate to say it wasn't a violent type of thing, or hey, we don't have incriminating evidence that potentially could say, oh yeah, you actually did this. She has blood work and she potentially was drugged. And she has blood work to prove it, that she was drugged, and they tested the semen that they found in her, and it was your DNA. But he already admitted that this was a consensual thing, but he described the encounter differently. Okay, Peter Hegseth, he's a looker. The guy has I posted him up, when he swam with the Navy SEALs and he had his shirt off. Very nice physique. He's a nice looking guy. He probably looked darn good, 5 or 10 years ago. So he probably was a really nice looking thing back then. So I can't imagine girls, and particularly these girls, just throwing themselves at him. I just can't imagine that. So, and I'm not to say just because he doesn't look, or since he's a looker, he's not gonna do harm towards women. I just don't really believe the story. It doesn't mesh together. You guys put in the chat. Let me know what you think. Oh, you think that's a dude talking? Is it a dude talking? I'm not for sure. Let me look at it. She looked like a woman. I think it's a woman. Only reason why I think it's a woman, she does have a feminine face. And, you could get that because maybe she run a lot. That strong neck jaw. I'm not for sure. But you guys are so funny. Anyway, I think he's going to get confirmed. And you're absolutely right. Who put that in there? Keratin saying Donald Trump is going to be sick of this BS from the left. Yeah, it's preposterous. The things that they come up with from the left is you just conjuring up. Not only he's not qualified for the position, but he's a sexual assault person, and he's never been convicted. He's never even went as far as Donald Trump. Jean Carroll. There's never been a civil lawsuit against him. Now Donald Trump has. Now you could just make, oh yeah, if you say Donald Trump, oh he's responsible for essaying Jean Carroll, okay, because of this civil lawsuit. But Peter Hegseth, he didn't even get that. He got blackmailed. And I'm going to stick with the blackmail part because I just think it's ridiculous that you just you cared about enough for the guy, because and if you read in some of the articles, he said, oh, reason why I did give her the money is because I didn't want to lose my job. If I was a SA victim, I don't even give a toot about your job. You're going to lose your job. I'm sorry. I don't care about them kids. F your kids. You didn't care about me. You drugged me and you armed me. So I'm going to sue you. And then on top of that, or press charges against you. And then on top of that, I'm going to make sure I sue you. You took something of mine that didn't belong to you. So yeah, we just gonna duke it out. So F what she talking about. If that really happened, a woman has no ends of her wrath. You know, and that would be a vengeful wrath if a person was assaulted and you think you're gonna be on national TV talking about it. Or talking to the public like you're such a good guy. No. I'm gonna dead all that. Anyway. You can still sue after pressing charges. Yeah, you can. Women do not have Adam's apples. But what I'm saying is I don't see an Adam's apple. Anyway, so we're going to get on to Donald Trump before we talk about the war in Ukraine. So just really quick, Donald Trump is they're saying that they're going to postpone this sentencing. Prosecutors urge judge to consider postponing Trump's sentencing until after his presidency. And it's saying that the New York criminal odyssey might need to continue at least another 4 years, prosecutors said. Lawyers for Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg wrote in a letter to Justice Chawanne Burns that Trump should not be sentenced for his crimes until after he completes his second term in the office. That would be 2029. More than a decade after investigation into Trump's cover-up of a hush money payment began. Considerations must be given to various non-dismissal options that may address any concerns raised by dependency of the post-trial criminal proceeding during the presidency, such as deferral of all remaining criminal proceedings until after the end of the defendant's upcoming presidential term, the filing said. Mershon had been slated to rule on November the 12th on whether the presidency immunity should have prevented jurors from seeing certain evidence at Trump's trial this spring, but he postponed his decision. Mershon said he wanted to hear from prosecutors about how to proceed with the case, which entered an uncharted terrain when Trump was reelected. Prosecutors said in their filings that they intend to oppose any effort by Trump to dismiss his case outright. You need to dismiss it. You can't just say, oh, we're going to postpone your sentencing. Well, they can, but postpone your sentencing for 4 years until after you complete your service to the country. Really? Come on now. He's going to serve the country, probably for free. He's probably not going to take a salary. And then you're going to still criminally convict the man? Well, he almost took a bullet for this country, and you gonna still criminally convict him or sentence him. Trump's lawyers said in the previous letter that it would do so, claiming his election meant the case might cause unconstitutional impediments to President Trump's ability to govern. Prosecutors said in the short term they are also unopposed to delaying Trump's sentencing, currently on the schedule of November the 26th, while attorneys are waiting to responding to his motions to dismiss. Trump is the first person in American history to win presidency after being convicted of crimes. He was also the first former president to face trials for crimes. Trump promised minutes after a unanimous jury found him guilty of felonies in May to fight his conviction. Weeks later, Supreme Court ruled that presidents are immune from prosecution of official acts that if evidence related to Trump's work as presidents could not be used in trial. Trump's lawyer argued that the Supreme Court ruling meant the conviction should be set aside and sentencing canceled. They said jurors heard testimonies from former White House staff that they should have been out of bounds during the trial. The legal team was led by Todd Blanche and Emma Bove, who Trump has said he will appoint next year to senior posts in the U.S. Department of Justice. Bragg's office argued that the material protested by Trump team was a silver of the mountains. Evidence a jury considered so small it shouldn't mean tossing aside the jury's decision. The jury found that Trump committed 34 felonies, largely by authorizing a plan to conceal reimbursement to Michael Cohen, his former attorney and fixer. Cohen paid $130,000 to adult film star Stormy Daniels days before the 2016 presidential election in exchange for her silence about the alleged sexual encounter with Trump. Okay, so the 34 felonies comes from I guess these transactions, and they call it campaign fraud or something like that, business falsifying records and all that stuff. So they tried to cover it up. Donald Trump, I think he claims that he didn't know about Cohen paying the $130,000 to Trump. But this is really crazy. I don't know if you guys remember. Donald Trump ended up suing Stormy Daniels, and he won. He won $670,000 from Stormy Daniels. Alvin Bragg, this very same case. Remember, they tried to say, hey, we should prosecute Donald Trump because of this. Remember that. This was right after Trump's presidency. They said we should prosecute him for this. And Alvin Bragg was like, no, we don't got enough evidence. And then as soon as Donald Trump said, hey, I think I'm going to run for this term, 3 months later after he announced that, they brought these charges on him. Now, all of a sudden, yes, we do have evidence. Just something fishy in the game. I don't know if you guys remember that, but in 2022, he pared down. Now, and I guess I was wrong because Bragg was not in office when Donald Trump left office. It was somebody else, and I guess they decided, just the AG decided, they didn't have enough evidence. Then when Alvin Bragg took office in 2020, he said he wanted to indict Donald Trump. That's what he said. And like I said, in March, I think President Trump announced his candidacy, January or something. And then in March, they were saying, or it might have been November. Was it November? October, November. Anyway. So Alvin Bragg was like, oh, let me make a name for myself. I'll prosecute him. And there you have it. Anyway, you guys put in chat, let me know what do you think that's going to come of that. I think they probably going to throw it out. I don't know where you could go with that on that. I think it's not going to be a good look for New York to be prosecuting somebody before or after Trump's tenure. It's not going to be a good look, because I don't know how divisive we will be after Trump's tenure, but we might be in a war still. Hopefully not. If we are in the world, you just be prepared. We're going to go through a recession, you guys, or maybe a Great Depression. The reason why I'm saying that is because I don't know if we build up our supply, our reserves yet. I have to take a look at that. I haven't been looking at it lately. I know they were buying up a bunch of oil, trying to replenish our oil reserves, but I don't know if it's fully replenished. We don't make a lot of stuff here anymore. Steel, bullets, military weapons, and all that stuff. None of that stuff is manufactured here. So we're going to be beholden to other people. We're going to be paying out our ass just to get military weapons and all that stuff. After Joe Biden and his team left all that military equipment over in Afghanistan, and they probably essentially are using those weapons on us. Okay. Millions and millions of dollars of military equipment is gone because of Joe Biden. Anyway, so speaking of Ukraine fires U.S.-made longer-range missiles into Russia for the first time. This first came out. Remember, yesterday we said Joe Biden gave permission to Zelensky to use long-range missiles, and they used it this morning. This report came out at 11:50 a.m. Ukraine hit Russia weapons arsenal. I said arsenal. With the U.S.-made missiles that it fired across the border for the first time, according to two U.S. officials, in a major escalation on the 1,000th day of war. The attack comes just 2 days after Biden administration gave Kyiv the green light to use the long-range American weapons against targets inside Russia. The Russia Defense Ministry said Tuesday that Ukraine fired the U.S.-made missiles into Russia and Russia Bryansk region. Okay, I do have a footage of Putin. Putin is crying. Or sending out, he's not crying, he's sending out a warning. Putin is sending out a warning.
But with
you guys let me know if you could hear this, okay?
the support of a nuclear state. In the updated version of the document, aggression against Russia by any non-nuclear state, but with the support of a nuclear state, is proposed to be considered as their joint attack on Russia. Russia will also consider the possibility of using nuclear weapons when receiving reliable information about a massive launch of means of aerospace attack and their crossing of our state border. This includes strategic and tactical aircraft, as well as cruise missiles and drones, hypersonic and other delivery vehicles. Russia reserves the right to use nuclear weapons in case of aggression, including if the enemy, using conventional weapons, poses a critical threat.
It is important to note at this point that these are at this time proposals to amend Russia's nuclear weapons use doctrine. We heard from Vladimir Putin multiple scenarios in which the rules and regulations governing how Russia can use its nuclear weapons will change. The first scenario is if a non-nuclear power attacks Russia with conventional arms but poses a grave or critical threat to Russia's sovereignty, the Russian leadership will be able to use nuclear weapons to neutralize that threat. The second scenario and how things will change is if that non-nuclear power that is attacking Russia is aided, supplied, abetted by a nuclear power, then that nuclear power will be considered a party to this conflict. So a joint attack on Russia, which will mean Russia will be able to use nuclear weapons both on the non-nuclear power and the nuclear power that it'll consider attacking it. Also, Russia will be able to use, preemptively perhaps use, nuclear weapons if there is verified information, proof that there is an ongoing attack on Russia using aerospace assets, or, for example, a mass launch of drones. Again, I must mention that these are, at this time, are proposals on how Russia's first use of nuclear weapons, its nuclear doctrine, will change. Nevertheless, this is a stark warning to the West, the latest in a slew of such. Previously, Vladimir Putin had come out and said that if advanced Western missiles with great ranges are supplied to Ukraine and used against Russia for strikes deep into Russian territory, then those countries, the United States perhaps, or Great Britain or France, which supply Ukraine with extended range missiles, that they will be complicit in an attack on Russia. Russia has brushed off their arguments that they merely hand these weapons over. Russia says it has evidence, and there is no way that Ukraine can plan, launch, and use these weapons without without NATO troops being involved, without NATO technical staff being involved, without NATO intelligence and NATO satellites being involved. But this comes at a dangerous time, at a time when many Western leaders are saying, ignore Putin and Russia's warnings, supply Ukraine with these missiles, and undoubtedly, even though they won't change anything, undoubtedly, Ukraine, they believe, will be able to resist Russia further. An argument that both military experts and the Russian government have said is in itself senseless.
In the updated version of the document, aggression against Russia.
Yeah. So you guys heard that from Putin. So they drafted a document of basically their rules of engagement has changed since we're now kind of immersed ourselves. We've been immersed in it, immersed ourselves even further into this Zelensky or Ukrainian and Russian conflict. So I don't know what to say about this. I really don't know. I think Joe Biden and these nut jobs that's in our office right now is really, they don't have the American people in mind. They basically don't give a shit. When the American people says no, we don't want endless wars. We're tired of giving money to Ukraine. We're tired of giving money to Russia. We do want a ceasefire. And you said because you're the leader, I guess you're a dictator. I don't give a shit what you're saying. I don't care how you voted. I'm gonna do this. And this is my time to posture myself as a great, strong leader, I guess. At the end of your presidency, you want to posture yourself as strong and not weak. But you've been feeble this whole presidential term. You and Kamala Harris been weak-ass people. Been used by Zelensky. You let people, you've been pimped, basically. You let other countries pimp us. They use our resources all up, and when American people starts complaining about it and speaking out about it and electing your opponent because we want to get out of this mess, you like, F y'all. We gonna do whatever the hell we want to do. This is the president that we have in office now. And we actually, well, there were people actually wanted to continue his term by electing Kamala Harris. So now Donald Trump, he spoke out. You know what? This says it was posted a long time ago, last night, but I don't think I want that. I just want to see something. So I don't know if you guys seen this speech, but President-elect Donald Trump had something to say. He wants to call a conference between Zelensky and Putin to end the war. I'm happy that I voted. This is posted by Tim Young. Anyway, so this is Donald Trump.
But we have never been closer to World War III than we are today under Joe Biden. A global conflict between nuclear-armed powers would mean death and destruction on a scale unmatched in human history. It would be nuclear Armageddon. Nothing is more important than avoiding that nightmare. We will avoid it, but we need new leadership. Every day this proxy battle in Ukraine continues, we risk global war. We must be absolutely clear that our objective is to immediately have a total cessation of hostilities. All shooting has to stop. This is the central issue. We need peace without delay. In addition, there must also be a complete commitment to dismantling the entire globalist neocon establishment that is perpetually dragging us into endless wars, pretending to fight for freedom and democracy abroad, while they turn us into a third world country and a third world dictatorship right here at home. The State Department, the defense bureaucracy, the intelligence services, and all of the rest need to be completely overhauled and reconstituted to fire the deep staters and put America first. We have to put America first. Finally, we have to finish the process we began under my administration of fundamentally reevaluating NATO's purpose and NATO's mission. Our foreign policy establishment keeps trying to pull the world into conflict with a nuclear-armed Russia based on the lie that Russia represents our greatest threat. But the greatest threat to Western civilization today is not Russia. It's probably, more than anything else, ourselves and some of the horrible USA-hating people that represent us. It's the abolition of our national borders. It's the failure to police our own cities. It's the destruction of the rule of law from within. It's the collapse of the nuclear family and fertility rates like nobody can believe is happening. It's the Marxists who would have us become a godless nation worshiping at the altar of race and gender and environment. And it's the globalist class that has made us totally dependent on China and other foreign countries that basically hate us. These globalists want to squander all of America's strength, blood, and treasure, chasing monsters and phantoms overseas while keeping us distracted from the havoc they're creating right here at home. These forces are doing more damage to America than Russia and China could ever have dreamed. Evicting this sick and corrupt establishment is the monumental task for the next president. And I am the only one who can do it. I'm the only one that can get the job done. I know exactly what has to be done.
We are unified by our spirit.
So anyway, uh, but we're into some like uncharted territories. I for myself, I remember a Desert Storm, and it was called the Operation of Desert Storm. They were searching for weapons of mass destruction. I remember that. Remember because of the 9/11. I remember that. And they never really withdraw out of Afghanistan until President Trump. They were over there for years. So, like this is quite new for us to be in this predicament. I think it's sad that, you have these leaders that Donald Trump, he described it to a T when he was talking about Liz Cheney. These guys sit behind in their cushy office and they behind their cushy desk and writing directives to initiate all these wars or conflicts in other countries, and they do not see the consequences for their actions because they're behind their desk in their cushy office. And once again, we see this. They just think we're a piece of these pawns in the chess that they could just play, and they don't. Hey, they're little pawns to be played. They have no idea that these are lives that we're talking about, and a conflict that we have no business over there. We don't even have any skin in the game. We have skin in the game now since we're funding it, but we don't. Essentially, we never had skin in the game. So you guys, we just need to pray for our country, and pray for our young ones, the younger ones that are in the military, our servicemen, because they're going to be the ones that's going to be fighting in this, if they don't get this conflict resolved. Okay, so and it's nothing more I could say to that. Let me just get to some of your comments. Tyrone Price is saying President Biden got lost at the G20 summit forest area. I didn't know that. How that happened? Shouldn't he been with somebody? Carrington said they'll let Obama, Zelensky, and others use them. Exactly. Lenny is saying America is mystery Babylon in Revelations. This does not end well for America. Read your Bible. Time to be right with God, I am telling you. Carrington, when Trump was in office, no wars was ever found, but now Biden is in office, wars and rumors of wars are spreading across the world. Mama is a puppet master. He's the one that has controlled Joe Biden the entire time. He even said if I had an earpiece and had a puppet to run the country, I would from the basement. Right now, Russia is off the East Coast with nuclear submarines, off the Gulf Coast with nuclear submarines, and off the West Coast with nuclear submarines pointed at America. Zelensky already said he's not going to end the world war. Yeah. And this is Zelensky is a short little twat. Zelensky doesn't even have the decency to dress up when he comes to America to ask for billions of dollars. And we roll out the red carpet for this goddamn fool. We roll out the red carpet for this fool like he's someone to acknowledge. Why? Why do we do this? What's the point? Remember when Trump was in office and Donald Trump said we should stop giving aid to different countries. Why are we the ones always footing the bill? And he proposed that if they needed money, we should give them a loan. And everybody looked at Donald Trump like he was crazy. You guys remember that? I'm going to find that conference. I don't know if he was just giving a press call or whatever. But I remember he proposed that. And the media went crazy, like it was so outrageous for him to not be benevolent. No, Donald Trump recognized that we are being pimped. We are being pimped by the so-called establishment. They are pimping the hell out of us. And we're just saying, oh, we're trying to tout ourselves like we are a world leader. And then he mentioned in this past press conference, you heard him, they literally have ushered us into almost a third world country. I wouldn't call it a third world country, but that's where we're leading. If we have no more manufacturing jobs here, no type of liquid resources or liquid gold that we could sell to other countries, and we're so dependent on other countries. And I told you we get our feed, the seeds and stuff from Zelensky now. Don't know why we do that. And we have capable farming here. Smithfield, the pork industry is owned by China. Some of this chicken shit is owned by China. China owns a vast majority of our land. For what reason? I don't know. It shouldn't be allowed. Our gross domestic product, I'm pretty sure our GDP, you guys hold on for just a second. Cannon, what are you doing? Okay, make sure you do your homework. You have a lot of homework, so make sure you do it. Which one you working on? Which subject are you working on? Okay. I'm sorry about that. I had to plug up my computer. What I was getting at is our gross domestic product. I mean, if we look at our GDP, I used to follow Patrick Bet-David long time ago, and he used to talk about the GDP a lot. U.S. GDP versus China's GDP. He made a prediction that China's GDP will surpass our GDP, I think, in 2030. And I want to look at our U.S. GDP. You guys, I was just a talking and y'all didn't even see me. When did it cut? When did the show cut off? Anyway, what I was getting at, I was saying that China has a great, they put about a half a minute ago. Anyway, that's good. So yeah, you guys see that. You see how China has ushered themselves into a position where they can't be messed with. And this is by 2035, where you see their GDP is well surpass the U.S. Okay, so I mean, if we really think about it, the U.S. are the grand old establishment, or whatever you want to call it, the people, the 200 people that actually operate the government. Those are the people that ushered the U.S. into this state. We're no longer a great state like we was once before, because we've been electing leaders that don't believe in greatness. They believe in selling the American people to the highest bidder, so they could enrich themselves and we could stay poor. Anyway, you guys put in the chat, let me know what you think. It's always been a great show. You guys, tomorrow is Wednesday. I will be online a little bit early, probably around maybe noon or 1:30. It all depends what time, but just take a look, just keep a lookout on, you know, the stream, because I'll post it up. I think I'm going to post it up tonight. Anyway, also tomorrow morning is another Unpopular Opinion podcast at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time on Chawanne Burns 2.0. You guys make sure you check out that show. We're going to be talking about, I think some more information has came out against Sean Puffy Combs and the things that he's been doing in his jail cell. Okay. I have some other tidbit of information about another female artist that, you know, I guess a lot of black women don't like her. That's what I've been seeing on the internet. So we'll talk about her. And then it's some other stuff that we're going to touch. So me and the super producer will be live at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time on Chawanne Burns 2.0. So you guys stay tuned. And it's always great to talk to you. You guys pray for our country, pray for peace, and Godspeed. I am sending all my good to you. Have a great evening.